Hello everyone, I'm Hugo.
I'm Jake.
And this is the Qur'an Reloaded. We're back again to read more of the Qur'an, and probably make fun of it. Still no death threats. Death threat counter alert, 0.
Yeah. I'm not disappointed.
I thought we wouldn't get as many as people expected. I thought it'd be more than fucking 0, though. I'm real dejected about my place in society now that after making fun of the Qur'an for 5 months, nothing.
Not one person thinks, oh, those guys are threats to our religion.
Yeah, what a bummer.
Fine, whatever. We're pretty benign.
So anyway, we're back here today. Still in the second surah. We're getting closer to the end, though. We're on verse 230. I think it goes to like 270, roughly. So probably within the next 2, maybe 3 episodes, we'll get there. And
286.
286? Oh, God, why you gotta contradict me? You're making me look bad in front of all the people.
None of them care.
Anyway, today we're continuing on with more divorce law, some stuff about nursing, if that's at all of interest to you. If you have like a nursing fetish, this might be your favorite episode. I don't know. And then we might get to some contradictions with the Bible. It depends on how many dick jokes we make per capita, I guess. If it's oversaturated with dick jokes and we get off track, then we probably won't get there, but we'll see what happens. If a man divorces his wife, she shall not be lawful for him again until she has married another husband. If the latter divorces her, then there is no blame on them for reuniting, provided they think they can maintain God's limits. These are God's limits. He makes them clear to people who know. So, if you remember in the last episode, we were talking about how you can remarry the same person 3 times, and this is reiterating that if she gets married to someone else after the 3rd time, though, and then they get divorced, then the counter resets and you can get married 3 more times.
Why would you want that?
Was divorce what they just called being mad at each other? I don't understand.
I feel like every couple is allowed one rebound back to each other, and then if that doesn't work, you gotta cut it off.
Yeah.
1, and then Nope. So that's 2 tries. That's fine. I think that's reasonable. But most of the time, that's not working out. Not only can they do it 3 times, but they're encouraged to do it another 3 times if they've tried to fuck other people and it just didn't work out.
And honestly, there's no statute. It doesn't say after the second 3 times you can't pull the same shit again with another husband. So you could just have this is our designated rebound husband. Every 3 divorces, he sticks it in her, and then I guess she's purer, even though in every other circumstance it's the opposite. I don't know, Islam's confusing.
I feel like Kim Kardashian got a hold of this.
When you divorce women and they have reached their term, either retain them amicably or release them amicably, but do not retain them to hurt them and commit aggression. Whoever does this has wronged himself, and do not take God's revelation for a joke. And remember God's favor to you, and he revealed to you the scripture and wisdom to teach you. And fear God and know that God is aware of everything. So they're saying that after the 3 months or whatever, they gotta wait to make sure they're not pregnant. If you don't want to be with her, release her. Don't, bring her back into the marriage just so you can, beat her up and be an asshole. The funny thing is, though, it seems like a pretty honor system-based thing. The kind of person who is willing to do that anyway, I don't think they're going to be dissuaded by this, but alright, whatever.
Right, and then I just saw an article recently. It said, Saudi Arabian, whoever's in charge, have decreed that you can beat your wife, but only a little.
Well, at least that's progress, I guess. I mean, they're still pieces of shit, but whatever.
Yeah. What's only a little of beating? What was a lot before? Because that's Saudi Arabia. They cut people's hands off and shit.
It's a ratio between how many open and closed hand hits there are.
Oh, okay.
Before it was majority closed. Now they're more equal as far as what they get. When you divorce women and they have reached their term, do not prevent them from marrying their husbands, provided they agree on fair terms. Thereby, it is advised whoever amongst you believes in God in the last day, that is better and more decent for you. God knows, and you do not know. So when she's fucking your pool boy Raul and you get divorced, you gotta let him get married after you find out she's not pregnant with your baby. Mothers may nurse their infants for 2 whole years. For those who desire, 2 yeyears seems like a long time for nursing. I mean, I know it's good.
I don't know. Some hipsters do it till they're fucking 18.
Oh, I've seen 7-year-olds do it, not in person, but online and stuff.
Here's my statute of limitations on your kids sucking your tits for nourishment. Hopefully not for anything else. Once they can start fucking remembering the time they stuck your titty in their mouth, cut it off.
And the funny thing is, it's not even that it's weird, though it is weird. A lot of the people claim it's like for bonding or whatever, and I'm sure the kid likes it because they don't know any different. I'm saying that when you do that and you have that level of thought process that you think you need that connection to that age, you're gonna have a fucked up kid that has weird abandonment and connection issues. Like they just can't. They're gonna have a weird relationship with you. Is all I'm saying. That's fucked up. A weird
relationship with everybody because now they're gonna try to suck everyone's titties.
I mean, some people do that anyway, but
be like, "Hey, bro, you want to go to the gym?"
Maybe they could. We can. Oh, let's open a gym. It'll be like Curves, but instead of for women, it'll be for people who like sucking on each other's titties.
Can it be called Titties?
Well, that's not the most creative name in the world, but it kind of hits the nail on the head, so I'm willing to give it a shot.
Slurp sounds like there's food in there, and there's not.
There kind of is, if anyone's like pregnant or just had a baby.
Or you're really salty from your workout.
That's the one thing I think Fear Factor never did. Strangers' lactation.
Oh, man.
And they did horse cum. So
Stranger's Lactation reminds me of a fake product I came up with a long time ago while working in a restaurant with a friend.
Yeah, I remember.
You remember what it was called?
Teetza.
Teat milk. Just think about that. Let that knock around in your head for a little while and think of the possibilities of human milk products.
I think there is a strong chance we are not going to get to the Bible contradictions today.
Moving on.
It is the duty of the father to provide for them and clothe them in a proper manner. No soul shall be burdened beyond its capacity. No mother be harmed on account of her child, and no father shall be harmed on account of his child. The same duty rests upon the heir. If the couple desires weaning, by mutual consent and consultation, they commit no error by doing so. You commit no error by hiring nursing mothers, as long as you pay them fairly. And be wary of God, and know that God is seeing of what you do. This is interesting because of talking about stopping the breastfeeding or starting the breastfeeding. I forgot to mention this when we talked about the breastfeeding a couple minutes ago. The source I get, where it's the Islamic perspective on the Qur'an, it explicitly says when they're talking about if you guys decide to nurse, in parentheses it put, the father.
Wait, if the father decides to nurse?
So they're saying that even though it's her boobs and her milk, the father gets to decide, are we going to have them breastfeed or whatever alternative may exist.
I thought they were doing the whole male breastfeeding thing, which is possible, but I didn't think the Islamic community also went to Whole Foods. So
as for those among you who die and leave widows behind, their widows shall wait by themselves for 4 months and 10 days. When they have reached their term, there is no blame on you regarding what they might honorably do with themselves. God is fully acquainted with what you do. This is weird because the time you're supposed to wait when you get divorced is like 3 months. This one's 4. So for some reason, when the dude dies, you gotta wait an extra month to get a good dicking.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's an extra month. 3 months for the baby, 1 month for mourning. And then hop on whatever sweet Arabian cock is near you. I don't know. Like she's got a watch on. 3, 2, 1, rips off the burqa on a dick immediately. You commit no error by announcing your engagement to women or by keeping it to yourselves. God knows what you'll be thinking about them, but do not meet them secretly unless you have something proper to say. So, yeah, we know you're going to be thinking about fucking your fiancé, but don't do it till you get married, because that makes Allah angry for some reason. And do not confirm the marriage tie until the writing is fulfilled, and know that God knows what is in your souls, so beware of him, and know that God is forgiving and forbearing. But beware of him. He's forgiving, but seriously, beware. God is like the spooky house that the mystery machine always pulls up to with the sign in front of it. It's like, beware! That's what God's like. He's a living version of a Scooby-Doo mansion / amusement park. You commit no error by divorcing women before having touched them or before having set the dowry for them, and compensate them, the wealthy according to his means and the poor according to his means, with a fair compensation, a duty upon the doer of good.
I have a question. How do you marry someone without touching them?
I'm pretty sure they mean specifically dick touching.
Why would you marry someone and not touch them with your dick?
Yeah, I don't...
Isn't that what you immediately do?
I think this is...
What do they start talking the first time, like the ride home? They start talking, he's like, oh no, you have a lisp. I'm not down with that. I didn't know you had a lisp. They didn't tell me. You can't pronounce your R's? What? Wada World? No, Waterworld is my favorite movie. with Kevin Costner, not Kevin Costner.
Okay, once they find out your favorite movie is Waterworld, they should want a divorce, frankly.
Yeah, but they can't. They're chicks.
I think this is in relation to the fact that some marriages were more marriages of convenience at the time and weren't for sexual or romantic love. It was like, oh, our families need to have a thing, or, oh, your husband died and you need someone to take care of you. I guess I'll do that if you make me sandwiches or whatever.
I'm pretty confident you're wrong. I'm pretty sure it was 100% had to do with A, lists, or B, Waterworld like to dislike arguments.
If you divorce them before you have touched them, but after you had set the dowry for them, give them half of what you specified, unless they forego the right, or the one in whose hand the marriage contract forgoes it. But to forgo is nearer to piety, and do not forget generosity between one another. God is seeing of everything you do. Marriage contract law. That's real interesting. Thanks, Qur'an. Guard your prayers and the middle prayer, and stand before God in devotion. But if you are in fear, then on foot or riding, and when you are safe, remember God, as he taught you what you did not know. So pray, unless you're like busy on a horse, or running away, or whatever.
Pray unless you're busy on the horse.
Yeah, you're like on a horse, you're like, I don't want to get down and pray.
Oh, it's so strenuous, getting up and down from a horse. Yeah. I have horse business to do.
Sure.
Maybe you're the guy that jacks horses off.
Maybe. Honestly, I don't want to. That's a job. A lot of the jobs on like Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe, which I don't think even exists anymore. If I got paid well enough, I'd do most of those jobs. I'd jerk off. One was a turkey jerker offer I saw, and like they jerk it off, and then they just have a little tube that they suck up the semen with, because they don't have super. It's not voluminous. They're turkeys.
I just remember the only job I remember is he picked up little baby chickens and squeezed them, and they pooped.
Yeah, I do most of those jobs. I don't care.
You would?
Yeah. I already deal with the shit on YouTube. I can deal with that. Have you seen YouTube comments? Please give me turkey cum.
Hashtag turkey cum. Please.
Those of you who die and leave wives behind a will should provide for their wives with support for a year, providing they do not leave. If they leave, you are not to blame for what they do with themselves, provided it is reasonable. God is mighty and wise.
I love how they tack on God is mighty and wise at the end.
Yeah. And divorced women shall be provided for, equitably, a duty upon the righteous. So if you're divorced or whatever and no one will take care of you, everyone will take care of you. I don't think that probably happens in practice in Islamic countries, but who knows? Whatever.
I can't imagine.
Fight in the cause of God, and know that God is hearing and knowing. Who is he who will offer God a generous loan, so he will multiply it for him manifold? God receives and amplifies, and to him you will be returned. Ooh, prosperity gospel. Nice.
Nailed it. Didn't we make a joke a while back that said Osteen was a Muslim?
Yeah, we did.
It was like the second time they've done this.
Yeah. Have you not considered the notables of the children of Israel after Moses, when they said to the prophet of theirs, anoint us a king, and we will fight in the cause of God? He said, it is possible that, if fighting was ordained for you, you would not fight. They said, why would we not fight in the cause of God when we were driven out of our homes, along with our children? But when fighting was ordained for them, they turned away, except for a few of them. But God is aware of the wrongdoers. See, now they're starting to relay stories from the Bible, but their own versions, and we're going to get to something about King Saul in a second. But first, I wanted to point out that in that story in the Bible, which we've read over at the Bible Reloaded a long time ago, there's no mention of Samuel asking them, will you fight if you need to fight? This is a good example of how the Qur'an, and this happens in every religion, but it's very distinct here, they take stories from older religions and they tweak them and make it focused on a different thing so that they can get their morals across through old stories, because the old stories give them authority. They just add or take away and change the meaning.
Sure.
So here, because the Qur'an and Muslims, when this was a thing, were in a tumultuous area and different religious groups were fighting, they had to instill the sense in people that fighting for God is a righteous and expected thing of you. So, sure, in the Old Testament, they mention the Jews fighting, and it is righteous to do what God says. It's very focused on here that if God tells you to fight your enemies who are trying to stop you from being Muslim, you need to fight them. And they took a story that wasn't about that at all, and they shoehorned it in because it has authority, because it's an old story. And I think that encapsulates pretty well how religion changes over time and how it works. It's kind of neat and fucked up, but there you go.
You're so informative today, Hugo.
I know. And I talked about turkey cum. And that's why I work on YouTube.
Because you can't be informative and not talk about turkey cum at the same time.
I can't stifle the cum. Can't do it. Won't do it on principle. Anderson Cooper 360, that was almost mine, but in the interview I was like, hey, how about that turkey cum? And they're like, fuck. Now we gotta work with Anderson Cooper. The prophet said to them, God has anointed Saul to be your king. They said, how can he have authority over us when we are more worthy of authority than he? And he was not given plenty of wealth. He said, God has chosen him over you and has increased him in knowledge and stature. God bestows his sovereignty upon whoever he wills. God is embracing and knowing. Again, notice, none of that was in the original Bible story. So literally they're making this up, and I can tell you why, because Islam being a newer religion, and certainly the people who are rising in power within the religion itself, I'm sure there were plenty of critics saying, why is this guy so, why does he have the right to tell us what's correct in this new religion? I guarantee someone wrote this passage to be like, God chose me just like he chose Saul, na boo boo. Like, it's so transparent. It's hilarious.
That sounds reasonable, but have you considered that maybe the Qur'an is perfect?
Maybe. I could be wrong. I guess I'll find out, and Allah will be like, why did you do this? And then he'll be like, Allahu Akbar, and then he'll blow up, and I'll be like, that's counterintuitive. And their prophet said to them, the proof of his kingship is that the ark will be restored to you, bringing tranquility from your Lord and relics left by the family of Moses and the family of Aaron. It will be carried by the angels, and that is a sign for you if you are believers.
Do you think they had the bush?
The burning bush?
The bush was part of the relics?
Actually,
and the snake staff.
It's snake staff. I want to say it's the broken 10 commandments, and
I know what it is.
Something.
And there's some manna or some shit.
And manna, I think.
Do you think maybe they grabbed the bush too?
I would. I'd be like, holy shit, this bush was God for a second. I bet I could do all sorts of sweet shit with this. What if I smoke this? What if I smoke what used to be God?
What if you smoke the God bush?
Probably be awesome.
We should smoke the God bush.
If anyone finds the God,
episode.
Actually, if you're someone who grows weed for like a living in a legal state or whatever, make a new strain and name it after that, God Bush. And if anyone asks, show them this episode, and they'll be like, "What?" And you'll be like, "I'm high. I was high when I did it."
For the record, I prefer indica. If you're sending me some,
please do not attempt to send Jake illegal drugs through the mail.
Or you could ignore Hugo's advice and send Jake illegal drugs in the mail.
I mean,
it's on you if that happens, though. I'm not requesting them. I'm just saying if it happens.
I'll
smoke it.
Hi, judge who has to listen to this episode as part of Jake's defense for being sent illicit substances through the Postal Service. We didn't mean it. Also, Didn't you really enjoy the turkey cum comment I made earlier? This show's golden. When Saul set out with the troops, he said, God will be testing you with the river. Whoever drinks from it does not belong with me, but whoever does not drink from it does belong with me, except for whoever scoops it up a little with his hand. But they drink from it, except for a few of them. Then when he crossed it, he and those who believed with him, they said, we have no strength to face Goliath and his troops today. But those who knew that they would meet God said, how many a small group has defeated a large group by God's will? God is with the steadfast. All right.
This just smashed together so many stories.
Yeah, okay. First of all, they're talking about David and Goliath, which I'll get to in a minute. But firstly, this story with them going to the river and testing them, the people who dunk their heads versus those who scoop it up. In the Bible, it's Gideon. Gideon's there who does this. In this version, it's
jokes about dogs.
Yeah, they make a dog comment. But here, it's not Gideon, it's Saul. So they completely changed the person in the story in the Quran. Well, we're talking about Saul. We'll just make it Saul. That's all right. Now imagine that happening thousands of times over thousands of years, and that's why nothing in the Bible makes sense anymore.
Poor Saul, the dude is rife with contradictions no matter what book he's in. He dies like 4 different ways in the Bible, and now he's like, I don't know, fucking lick it like a dog.
These are God's revelations, which we recite to you in truth. You are one of the messengers, and that's...
We are?
Yeah, I guess we're the messengers. That's good. It's kind of like the proclaimers. And I would walk 500... And that's the legal limit on how much I can sing of that before I have to pay those Irish bastards. Wait, are they Scottish? They're Scottish. My bad.
I don't know. You got to do an Islam one though. Like, and I would murder 500 infidels, and I would murder 500 more just to be the man who murdered 1,000 infidels and put their heads on your doors. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
That wasn't too bad, actually.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. Anyway.
I just made that up.
So thanks, everyone. You can always check us out on Twitter at Bible Reloaded.
You could follow Hugo at Hugo Reloaded, and you could also subscribe to the channel.
You can donate to our Patreon campaign. We do a once-a-month Patreon-only hangout, and that's a lot of fun.
It's a campaign. You said that weird.
Yeah. I don't know how to talk anymore. Too much.
Me either.
That's good. So
now I'm a radio guy that talks really fast at the end of commercials.
You're the Micro Machine Man here telling about the Micro Machines. He was also on a FedEx commercial. You kids are too young for that. Anyway, until next time, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this has been, I guess this is the Bible Reloaded. That's fine. Wait, no, this has been the Qur'an Reloaded. God damn it!